So I'm jumping in this a little bit late now, but I've got most of the components laid out how I'm going to want them in the final build. Down here I've got one intake fan on the bottom, mounted to that using UN brackets will be my pump and res config. Right out of the front of the pump here I've got a 5-way cube lock. At the bottom it's a temp sensor with a 5mm extension or so. The top will be the compression fitting going to the GPU. And out the front here I have a tap. This front rad has 2 intake fans on the other side. At the top here are the inlet outlet. The inlet is going to be the one closest to the camera here, coming from the CPU. The outlet will be the back, and I'm going to use a 5-way rotary snake fitting to get it into the top of the res there. Really tight in there. That's probably the most awkward part of this loop right now. My motherboard's currently out for RMA right now. I should be receiving my replacement sometime soon. The back fan I've set up as an intake with a filter on it, just because I had an extra fan sitting around and I would like to get positive pressure in this case. At the top here I've got a triple rad with 3 exhaust fans, and behind it I've tucked away my Aquaro 6 Pro. I've taken the screen off of it here because I don't really want to break up the front fascia of the 750D. Everything will be routing through the same hole as the 8-pin CPU connector. And I think this is kind of a nice place to hide this away. There's lots of room in there for connectors, 30 centimeters or so, or 30 millimeters or so. And I've actually just screwed it into the hex grid back here. So it looks not too bad. I'm gonna replace those screws with black versions. Make it look a little bit cleaner. I managed to find some black 5mm screws, M4s for the top rad. It's harder to come by these screws than people realize. Coming back down here, as you can tell, there's lots of room between the power supply and the one hard drive cage I've decided to leave in. So the cable should go in there, no problem. My last build had way too tight of a compartment here, and all the cables were all compacted in, and it's kind of ugly. The hard drive cage, as of right now, just has 2 3 terabytes running a RAID 1. Whenever I feel like it or I get the money, I'll buy a third 3 terabyte hard drive and convert it to a RAID 5. And I've got my SSD hidden in the back there. This mounting mechanism is awesome. The problem is, as you can see, the lettering comes in upside down, which is kind of annoying. I don't know if there's really much I can do about this right now, other than maybe flipping it so that you don't see that side, but you see the back side of the SSD instead. I'm not sure. I've done some kind of preliminary wiring. So all the front panel stuff coming out there, USB 3.0 front panel connector. I've also wired up, this is a PWM pump. I've wired up the PWM connector to the Aquaro already here. And this is the USB connector for the Aquaro, which I'm going to plug into my motherboard internal header. Comes out down here. Yeah. Waiting for one more order. It's going to have all my pipes, or all my tubing, and it's going to have the 5-way snake rotary for that. Once I get those in, I will post another update.